Okay, we're live. Yay. Hi, we're live. So hopefully everybody can see. I'm watching for people to jump on. I did about 3 or 4 tests just to make sure this was working. Hopefully the audio is great. If you guys can't hear me or there's a problem, please send a message and let me know that I need to fix those audio settings. I have a microphone plugged in to hopefully cut down on some of the echo that was going on with the test. But I want to get going and talk a little bit about our spiritual gifts and talk about what's going on right now and how everybody's feeling and is impacted with this whole shelter in place order. I've never seen anything like this. In all the years that I worked in the ER and the pandemics we worked through, nothing like this has ever happened. So I'm sharing a little bit of the anxiety that everybody else is feeling, and I validate that we're going through it's a historical time. I mean, it'll be something to tell our grandkids about. That kind of scary. It's amazing to me that this little invisible microbe can wreak so much havoc, right? But this is why I wanted to talk, because while we're home, while we've got this time for ourselves, there's a lot that we can be doing that will help bolster, I guess, our spirituality. And a lot of questions have come in to me over the past many years that basically are, how do I know this stuff's real? How do I know I'm not using my imagination and just making it up? It's a common question. And it's one that I've asked too. None of us are alone in that question. We all ask the same form of that question, and have to come to a point in our lives where we agree and recognize that really it's not an imaginary thing. This is real, right? So I wrote a book about it because the question was so frequent, and I want to share some thoughts with you about that. Now I'm going to go ahead and look at my notes because there's a lot of stuff that comes, and honestly, I'm kind of nervous about this. But the first thing I wanted to talk about, which I thought was relevant, is I want to talk about memories. I think if you go back to your youngest point in your life and you think about memories that you have as a child, I have some very kind of frightening memories as a little girl growing, probably 5 years old. The memories evolve around, excuse me, evolve around nightmares that I had as a little girl. I would have dreams that were very vivid and obviously very real. I still remember the details to this day, and it's well over 50 years. I'll just say that. So, yeah, it's like, how would I hold on to those kinds of dreams and memories for so long if they weren't poignant? So it made me think about that. Why do we have memories that shape our lives and stay with us so long? And what is the relevance of that to our life? And so I'll give you one that I have. The one that I had that was, I mean, there's a couple of them, but again, the one that I had that kind of sticks out with me now, it was a dream that I had about being in a fire. And I was really scared. Like I was burning up. And now everybody's going to say, oh, that's past life and it's coming forward. It might be, I don't know. But there's relevance to that memory. And so I want to just focus on that rather than the past life at this point in the discussion. There's a sense of deja vu that comes with that. As we look back on our memories and we think about these things that happened to us a long time ago, and they are exceptionally, hi, Melinda, thanks for coming on. They're exceptionally familiar. You have to wonder, what is the after effect of that memory? For me, it's a little bit of PTSD. I'm terrified of burning in a fire. I am terrified of getting burned, of going through the burn injury. All that stuff really scares me. So the fact that kind of thing is so prominent in my life versus say something else is interesting. If you look back, there's a lot of people that are afraid of falling. There's a lot of people that are afraid of drowning. There are a lot of people who are afraid of some things that I've gone, yeah, whatever. That doesn't bother me. But fire, oh yeah, That's a thing. So it made me wonder again about PTSD. And is there the potential for PTSD to come through? Now we're going to talk about past lives, a past life into a present life. Is the dream that maybe some of us have that is so prominent a memory of that past life that dredges up PTSD feelings? And why is that important? Well, I think it's important because it helps us recognize, it gives us recognition about aspects of our lives and our soul that is bigger than just this earth, than this plane that we're living on. And if we can hold on to that recognition and know that there's a purpose for it, we can build on it and become a better person. So think about the dreams that you had. Think about some of the things that you've gone through and some of the PTSD you have, and see if maybe possibly that can relate to a past life. And perhaps think about this hair, I'm telling you. Think about how that PTSD or how that after effect affects you in this earth, in this life, and what can you do to possibly release it, to embrace it, release it. It's really the yoga thing, that whole surrender and release. Like, honestly, if you don't know about the yoga thing, let me just quickly explain it. When I do yoga, I'm a very stiff person. I used to dance as a professional, and thanks, Melinda. I used to dance professionally, and I was very limber. I mean, I could, do all the splits and all the other stuff that you had to do as a dancer, and lifts and kicks and everything. And now I'm old and fat. I can't. And that's okay, because I'm not meant to dance anymore like that. But I still try and embrace the beauty of what my body is. And I do that through yoga. Well, I kid you not, there are just some poses that hurt. They hurt like hell. And I'll get into that pose and it hurts. And I fight against it. I have assigned, this is a whole nother topic, but I've assigned pain to that pose. Hi, Sally. And you should be talking about this, release and accept. You're so good at this. Sally Turner's really good at this stuff. But anyway, so I'll get into the pose. It hurts like crazy. And I'm fighting against. And I'll listen to him count down. I only have maybe 3 more seconds to hold it. And then I realized, wait a minute, this isn't about gritting your teeth and bearing it. This is truly about just stop assigning that it's painful, accept that it's a feeling that you have and release it. And with exhaling, I cannot tell you, you can go deeper. Suddenly you stop feeling that fight against it. So I think that's part of maybe some of this PTSD. Stop fighting against it. And I apologize if this sounds offensive. I don't know how else to word it. But stop fighting against it being a negative experience, and maybe accept that it is part of what your history is that helped build who you are. Now, that doesn't mean you have to give into it and live in anxiety, but it does allow you some freedom to perhaps understand the power of who you are coming into this life. So that's all I want to say on that. Why is that important? Because as we go in through this spiritual stuff, some of these things come forward, and they will influence the kinds of gifts and the way we recognize gifts. And so here's what I'm going to show you. Hopefully it's not backwards. No, it's not. This is the book I wrote. You do not have to buy this book to understand or participate in what we're doing. But I'm going to read from it, and I want you to, oh gosh, where's my glasses? I want you to understand that this is part of what helps me, okay? So those of us who have spiritual gifts, probably the first and most common one is the empathic ability that we have. And an empath, it's so huge. It's so encompassing. And almost everybody out there, in my opinion, has empathic gifts. Very few people are without them. So those of you who aren't aware of what empathy is, let me just tell you, there's empathy where you feel for another person, and there's empathic empathy, like an empathic ability, where you literally almost take on that feeling for yourself. An example is, well, I can give you the example in the book. This is a true story. I was sitting at it was a baseball game, football or baseball game. It was some kind of a sports event with kids. And I'm watching them, and this little girl is sitting on the bench in front of me to the side. She's just sobbing her eyeballs out. And I looked at her and I immediately felt like deep sorrow. I knew whatever was bothering her was really profound in her life. And her mom's like, oh, she'll be fine. Just ignore her. Well, I couldn't ignore her because I was an empath, because she was feeling pain. And because of my empathic ability, I felt her pain. So an empath literally lives the pain of another person. Somebody who shows compassion and empathy toward another may understand what they're feeling, but the empathic ability literally takes it on for yourself. So it's a revisit of that actual pain somebody's feeling. Um, the definition from Merriam-Webster, and again I'm reading from the book, says empathy, okay, to be sympathetic is where you share another person's, let me go over here, you share the feelings of another person. To be empathetic, one understands the feelings of another person. Both terms come from a Greek word meaning in pathos, which means the evocation of compassion or pity. So take that definition, throw steroids on it, and then internalize it, and you're going to have what an empathic spiritualist feels. So it's a good thing to have that. And I think the reason I wanted to bring that up and help and talk about that is because there's a lot of people who have this empathic ability. And like my husband is a huge empath. He said the other day, he goes, man, it's hard to get out there in the world. He goes, I've got hundreds of people bawling inside of me. Hi, Tammy. So I had to laugh at that because I thought that's a perfect description of what empaths go through. There's all kinds of empaths, and I want to identify this type of empath, so that if you are resonating with what I'm saying, going, you know what, I do experience that, and no, you're not in your head, you're not making it up, and you're not too sensitive, which is what I was always called. Oh, Marty, you're just too sensitive, right? I still hear that from certain people. No, you have the gift of empathy. And if you can hold on to that gift and utilize that to bless your life and others, that includes paying attention to the warning that comes from an empathic witness of something maybe that is dangerous or not right. What an amazing gift. These are the people, honestly, that will walk into a house and they will sense, oh my gosh, something happened in here, right? You see it on TV, you see it in the movies, you see it, all kinds of places. They walk in, they can sense what happened in a room, in a house. They can walk in and go, oh my gosh, this is an amazing place. All these wonderful things happen. Or, oh my gosh, this is some place that there's been a lot of sadness or evil or whatever. We got to get out of here. So you want to pay attention to your empathic friends if you do not feel strong with this gift. If you do have this gift, holy cow, count your many blessings and pay attention to your feelings. This is a feeling gift. It is not a thought gift. It is not one you work your head with, except to listen and decide what the next step is. So pay attention to your heart, pay attention to your gut of all things. The empath discerns with their heart and their gut. Most feelings are that. Most of the gifts are that way. But this one in particular, your heart and your gut. So pay attention to what those say. Get out of your head, except if your gut says, hey, run, you want to tell your feet, hey, run. Okay. All right. Here's the different kinds of empaths that are out there, because there's a lot of them. There's emotional empaths. This is the most commonly associated with the term empath, and it is linked with emotions and feelings. Okay. We just talked about that, so I don't need to get into that. Here's another one. Physical or medical empaths. These individuals can literally feel an illness or an injury suffered by another. Yeah, I have that a lot. So people that, you've heard about sympathy pains, that's what this is. So men that go through sympathy labor with their wives, I never experienced that from a companion at all, but if they do, that's what they're experiencing, is an empathic experience. Now, I do a lot of my medical intuitive this way. So I will suddenly, a great example is somebody came in and I was coughing and coughing. And I'm like, couldn't stop coughing. And I'm like, man alive, who in your world has a difficult time? Is that Marianne? Oh, hi, Mary. Who in your world is having a difficult time breathing? And it's up here, it's upper airway, your throat, your bronchial stems. And she's looked at me, she goes, oh, I've got such bad chronic asthma. I'm like, okay, and of course, then I'm like, take it back. I'm done experiencing that. This just validated. So a medical empath will actually feel it. You might feel pain in your abdomen. You might get nauseous. You might get dizzy. All of these are symbols, and we're going to talk about symbols another time that you want to pay attention to. So that's a medical or physical empath. It's a great gift. Okay, this is a good one. Nature empath. An empath who feels a strong connection with animals or plants, and they fall into this category. Sorry, an empath who feels a strong connection to animals or plants. Okay, how many of you? I've done this since I was a little girl. Will walk up and talk to a tree or to a flower or to bushes. Like they've already proven that when you sing songs or play music around your house plants, they grow better, right? Okay. These empaths actually feel and sense a plant. The plant, nature, rocks, whatever that's out there, they feel it. A lot of people that can grab a crystal and feel the energy of a crystal is feeling the energy, but then they also might have a sense of maybe the personality of that crystal. I don't have that gift so much, but I know someone who does, and literally she'll say, "Oh, this stone doesn't want to be here. This stone wants to be wherever." So this person is a very strong nature empath, and that's a really wonderful thing if you need to talk to somebody about that kind of thing. Okay, next we have an environmental empath, which is also called a geomantic empath. These are gifted people that have the ability to sense the environment. This goes beyond just plants, animals, objects, and people. These empaths sense the tone of a location. This expands to a sense of Mother Earth and the suffering of our world. Guess who's really feeling it right now? The environmental empaths are hard at work. These are the people that will come on and make comments about what we are doing to Gaia. They will come on and talk about the energy of, or the feelings of what a community is experiencing, more than just observation. This is literal feeling of what's going on in a complete locale. With the illness and the struggle and the fear that's going on, these people are super heightened right now. And my prayer is that they will send out positive thoughts and energy to help change all of this. Because honestly, all we have to do is send out these positive thoughts, send out the love, let that drop, trickle, and ripple out like it does in a lake. And these environmental empaths will sense it, and they will feel a shift in the community. So, holy cow, what an amazing gift. Embrace this if you have this, because the rest of us are going to be looking to you. The next kind, and there's a lot of these out, is an intuitive empath. An intuitive empath is a gifted individual that has the ability to sense a person's state of being just by being near them. Okay, we've kind of talked about that a little bit. These are people that just know. They can walk up to someone and say, "I know you're having a bad day. What's going on? Or do you need someone to talk to?" All right. My husband, an example of this. Oh my gosh, he's so good at this. I was in Dana Point in my condo up there. It's paradise up there. So I'm in my condo, laying on the floor, writhing. I didn't really have pain. I was just really uncomfortable, running a fever, not well. I was not well. And he called clear down from UCSD where he worked and said, "Hey, how are you doing? What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm good. Everything's fine." And he got real quiet on the phone and said, "You're so full of it. You're sick. I know it. I'll be right up." So he hops in the car, leaves work, and comes up. I ended up admitted to the hospital. Nothing serious, but it was something that needed attention for. But he sensed it. He knew it. He was doing less of the medical intuitive and more of this last intuitive empath work on me. He just knew. He just knew something was up. So if you are one of these people that know, hold on to it. You're not too sensitive. You're not overreacting. You literally are listening to the promptings that are coming to you and using that internal gift of empathy to sense what's going on. I'm not going to get into more of that. That's the first gift. Let's all just kind of let that one marinate for a little bit. We've got about 10 minutes. So I'm going to answer a couple of questions that came through. If anybody else has, let's see, a question. I'm going to scroll through these real quick to see. Hi, Laurie. Glad you're here, even though you're new. Okay, so far everybody is there. If you have any questions come through, the questions are not psychic reading questions. These are questions about about your spiritual gifts. And I've got one here. Let me see if I can answer this. I met someone online. Are they legit? Sally, I'll get back with you. Okay, so the first question I have that came through is, how do I get discernment back when I've lost it? That's a really good question. We go in and just like, our weight fluctuates up and down all the time, right? At least mine does. It goes up and down. Our blood pressure does that. The top number of our blood pressure is called the systolic number, the systolic blood pressure. That one goes up and down constantly. It's up when we're nervous. It's down when we're not. It's up when we're running or exercising, it down when we're sleeping. That one can move, and that's a good one. The bottom one, we want to stay still. But the top one, as it fluctuates, that's just a normal part of life. Well, so is discernment. If discernment comes and goes, that's a normal part of our spirituality. The trick is, just like blood pressure, is to recognize when it's moving and that maybe it's time for you to take the measures to get it back to normal, right? So like if you are running and really hot, the natural thing for you to do is when you finish running, your run or your exercise or whatever, you cool down, right? You go through a cool down process with athletics. You spend time drinking water to restore that, what they call homeostasis. You will go back to that normal plane. So we want to do that. We want to go to the homeostasis with our discernment. And if for some reason your discernment drops, that just tells you that you need to do something to help bring it up. Like when you're dehydrated, your fluid level drops, you want to do something to bring it up. So you drink more fluid, more water. So I would say drink in your spirituality. Spend some time meditating. That's how you do this. So if you're struggling with recognizing or feeling discernment, spend some time with stillness. However you do that, whether that's walking the beach, can't do that too much anymore, sitting still in a room. I have to turn music on and burn incense because I don't know what's going on in the house. Anything to get you to that place where you can literally go real deep internally, and then just listen and reconnect with those gifts. I promise it will come back. You haven't lost discernment. We never lose it. Those who feel like they have never achieved or received discernment, it's just that you just don't recognize it. Sorry. Spend some time doing the same thing. Go to stillness. Pay attention, listen. I always advocate writing journal notes and paying attention to that so that you can recognize the symbols. And again, we'll talk about that later, and the discernment that you have, and it will come back. I hope that answered the question. If not, message me and we'll address it again. The next question, this is a really good question. So she asked, how can I best use my gifts? Honestly, the best use of your gifts is to honor them. Recognize that you have them. Recognize how you receive them. And then do what I call avoid the distractions that will pull you away from them. Whoever comes to you will come to you. Spirit's going to bring them to you. God's going to bring them to you. You don't even have to worry about that if it's meant to go that route. But your gifts are yours. There are distractions out there, and I'm going to talk about them in detail later. One of the worst distractions is comparison. When we look at someone else and compare our gifts to their gifts, we tend to really become distracted away from what our own gifts are. We're looking at somebody else's apple basket. Everybody knows my metaphor for the apple basket. Basically, we all carry this beautiful, I envision this beautiful basket of gorgeous apples from the medieval times. Those big flat baskets that they would fill with fruit and stuff. So we have this basket of apples, that we carry every single minute of our living life, and so does our neighbor. But if we're so busy looking at our neighbor's apple basket and don't pay attention to our own, we're going to miss out on an opportunity. For example, if somebody standing next to you has something that you perceive they don't, maybe they've got lemons, and you're going, well, they've got lemons. I've got apples. Your gift is the apple, right? Pay attention to your own gifts. Pay attention to what God has given you. Don't become distracted. Honor them, accept them, write everything down if you're confused or not sure. And I promise they will stay with you. Okay, those are the 2 questions we have. We are almost at the very end. Is anybody else have any other questions? I don't. I have multiple. Okay, what's up with my tailbone? Mary, I don't feel a tailbone pain right yet, but let me get off my very soft chair. I have a chair that has a pillow on it. So I'm sitting on that. I'll get up and go meditate on your tailbone, Mare. Okay, Mary did bring up a really good questions. And so did Sally. So let me take the last couple minutes. We'll talk about that. Kate, Mary said, I heard a voice outside my head. That was a really good question. I hear voices outside my head all the time. No, I am not crazy. And no, I'm not certifiable. I've heard voices, I've heard pounding, I've heard things that they're not of this world. Let's just say that. I hear my name called off and on, not frequently, but off and on. And it's the voice of my father. Well, my dad's alive. He's in another state. He's doing fine. But his father passed when I was just a little girl. And I'm one of the only grandchildren he has that remembers him. I'm positive it is he that is calling me. And I don't know that it's really anything. I don't think it's anything more like how I sense it is. It's not anything more than just, hey, pay attention, or hey, I'm here. So Mary, if you had a voice outside your head that you heard, and I know what the message, you shared with me your message that came through, what the person said, I think truly it can be a warning. For example, this is a good one. When you're driving a car and you hear stop, right? That is a voice that is inaudible, and yet it's very audible to you, right? It's of another world. That is a warning. So I kind of think that these voices will come through and warn us. I think they will come through to comfort us. I think they come through mostly to reassure us that we're not alone doing this, and that somebody that probably will recognize the voice is with us. So again, it's pay attention to that kind of stuff. I hope that answered the question. Okay, now I'm getting a lot of them. Let me see. How do you manage the energy and fear going down in the world right now? Gail, I believe, and this is just me, I don't think, okay, this goes this way. Holy cow. I think that it's the energy that's coming through. I'm not meant to manage the entire world's energy, but I am tasked with managing my own energy. So again, that drop in the puddle, or the drop in the lake, a very still lake, if I can drop positive energy, if I can drop hope, if I can drop joy, then that's going to ripple out. That's how it will affect the rest of the world. Now, how do I manage the energy that is coming in? I choose to only allow positive energy in my life right now. So TV's off. I do still get CDC alerts because of my job before working in the ED. So I look at those to kind of get an update about what's going on. I will listen to the president's broadcast. Then it goes off. I don't have anything to do with TV other than fun shows. We watched Carol Burnett last night. And I watched The In-Laws because that is the funniest show. 1979 In-Laws. It's really, really funny with Alan Arkin. So I watch that. I try and bring in positive. We've got really great music playing. I have really good food that I wouldn't normally cook in the house. There's chimes going. I'm crafting. For me, this is a time of embracing opportunity. So I try and look at every instant. Where's that half full glass pitcher, even when it's a bad thing, right? There's some things that have been difficult. I have a son still stuck in Kuwait. He can't get home. The positive side of that is the hilarious things that he and his wife and the kids are doing. Oh my gosh, they crack me up all the time. So that I embrace. So I would just suggest finding the positive side of every minute that you possibly can and embrace that and know that that ripple will go out. I hope that answers your question. Linda, what if you get a feeling that takes over and you realize these feelings belong to the person sitting next to you? And how do you experience and let go? For me, I honor that and then I shield. So shielding for an empath is critical. It's like bread and water. You can't live without it. So again, I will ground myself and I use the 12D grounding process, which we can go through another time. Mary's done this before a lot with a lot of people online. So you can always look at her Facebook live feeds. They have it on YouTube. So you can follow that. You just type in 12D grounding. And I literally ground myself and then I make that bubble and push it out. Sometimes I test this. Okay, for those of you who don't believe this, do this because this is hilarious. When I was in Walmart before all of this happened, yes, I did go to Walmart. I bubbled up, right? There was this guy standing in front of me. He was just like a creepazoid. Sorry to judge, but he was. And that was an empathic feeling too. Like I was going, this guy's bad news. I do not want him in my space. So I bubbled up. I pushed the bubble out and watched to see if he would step back. And he did. He took like a giant step away from me. So my best suggestion, if you're feeling something that's uncomfortable next to you, you can always choose to leave, but always, always, always shield. Even if whether you sit there and stay next to that person or whether you leave, depending upon what your circumstances, always shield. I hope that answered Melinda. Are there ways that we can, this is Sally's question, develop our empathic gifts to the next level? Yes. And I'm still learning this. I'm learning actually some of this from you, Sally. So, but the thing that I'm learning is the more I honor these and the more I practice receiving them and the more I listen, the better I hear. It's a little like learning a foreign language. If you go to school like I did in college and learn to speak German and never use it again, you have to start over again to relearn the language. However, if you go to college and you learn German and you immerse yourself in the German culture, say you move to Germany, and you practice speaking German every single day, you become so fluent. You think in German, right? You think in the foreign language. So that's how your skills become stronger. And then all of a sudden you're going to find yourself automatically leveling up and you'll realize there are more things that are meant for you. They make themselves aware. So this is trusting in the process really, rather than, oh my gosh, I have to endure, I have to do more, feeling pressured to advance yourself. Let spirit advance you. Hope that answered. Thanks, Mary. I think that's it, you guys. I will promise I will go through the comment section and make sure I haven't missed anybody. And we will do this next Friday at the same time, 4:00. We went longer than I planned, but I think this is good. I will take questions. Anybody that wants to send questions, send them to me as a private message. And I will make a list. You can email them to Marty, MARTIRN, advisor at Gmail, and I'll make a list. You can text them to my phone number, 253. Sorry, that is the predator. 253-470-8851. And then we'll cover any questions we missed and move on to talk about the next topic, which, let me look in here and see what it is. The next topic is, auras. talking about auras. Yay! If anybody is interested in this book, and again, you don't have to have it, but I've had a lot of people say, where do I get it? My publisher is selling these for 50% off. They look, if you go on the website, their website, and I'll put the link in the comment section. If you look on the website, they have the regular price. And then when you check out, make sure you put the code in kick COVID, all in caps, 19. Kick COVID 19. I'll put that in the comments too. And you can get it for half off, which I don't know what they're selling them for, but I mean, this little paperback is like maybe $5, I think. I don't know. All right, guys, I'm going to send a blessing out to all of you. Please stay positive, stay happy. When we come back, I want you to tell me one really happy thing you did in the week, during the week, and then or one thing that made you the most happy this week. And then please share a way that you used your empathic gift so that we can all benefit from that. And we'll put that in next Friday's comment section. All right. God bless. Bye. Oh, and thank you for participating, everybody that did. Mwah.